The best fighter is never angry. Have you ever found yourself in an argument where your emotions got the best of you? Maybe you said things you didn't mean or lost sight of the issue at hand. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, but being able to remain calm and collected during an argument is a valuable skill that can help you communicate more effectively and achieve better outcomes. In this video, we'll explore the concept of stoicism and provide practical tips and strategies on how to be more stoic during an argument. Whether you're dealing with a difficult coworker, a family member, or a friend, these tips will help you stay focused, control your emotions, and communicate more effectively. So, let's get started. In any argument, it is important to understand the other person's perspective before responding. This allows you to respond in a way that is productive and effective, rather than simply reacting emotionally. One of the best ways to understand the other person's perspective is to actively listen to what they are saying. This means paying attention to their words, tone, and body language, and trying to understand the underlying message they are trying to convey. To actively listen, it is important to give the other person your full attention. This means putting aside distractions such as your phone or computer and focusing solely on the conversation at hand. It also means avoiding interrupting the other person, even if you disagree with what they are saying. Instead, wait until they have finished speaking before responding. In today's world, it seems like no one is truly present, and that includes you. I'm sure you found yourself in situations where your mind was wandering during a conversation, not fully giving your attention to the person in front of you. That's why we need to increase our attention span, which has decreased due to the distractions around us, especially with social media. If you don't like what's in front of you, a quick scroll takes you elsewhere in a second. This has messed with our brains. To regain control over your mind and increase your attention, you need to start meditating. It's the best tool you have. But in general, focus on an activity for a longer period. Every time you get distracted, bring your focus back to that activity. An actionable step I challenge you to take today is to leave your phone at home and go for a walk. Enjoy the beauty of life and what surrounds you. Seize this opportunity to be fully present and see what's around you. You'll notice new things even in familiar areas because you are completely present. Now, I'll be honest with you. In the beginning, it will be tough because our brains are accustomed to being distracted 24/7. I recently realized I have the same issue with eating. I made it a habit to watch an educational video every time I eat, and I've noticed how hard it is to simply sit and eat without any distractions. It's frustrating when you think about how consumed we are by these distractions. Make sure you implement one of the practices we discussed today. I'm confident you understand how to practice mindfulness in any activity you choose. This means you don't have to limit yourself to what we've talked about here. All you have to do is be present in the activity you choose. When you lose focus, come back to the present moment. Another important aspect of understanding the other person's perspective is to ask clarifying questions. This can help you to better understand their point of view and ensure that you are responding to the actual issue at hand. For example, you might ask questions such as, "Can you explain what you mean by that?" Or, "Can you give me an example of what you're talking about?" Finally, it is important to approach the conversation with an open mind. This means being willing to consider the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. By doing so, you may be able to find common ground and reach a resolution that benefits everyone involved. During an argument, it is easy to become emotional and let your feelings take over. However, this can often lead to an unproductive and ineffective conversation. It is important to control your emotions during an argument so that you can respond in a way that is productive and effective. One of the first steps in controlling your emotions is to recognize them. This means being aware of how you are feeling and how those feelings are affecting your behavior. For example, you might notice that you are feeling angry or frustrated, and that those feelings are causing you to raise your voice or interrupt the other person. By recognizing your emotions, you can take steps to manage them. One effective way to manage your emotions during an argument is to take a break. If you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed or emotional, it can be helpful to step away from the conversation for a few minutes. This can give you time to calm down and collect your thoughts before returning to the conversation. Another way to manage your emotions is to practice deep breathing or other relaxation techniques. Every time you feel that your emotions are taking over, stop for a second and take a deep breath. This can help to reduce feelings of stress and anxiety and allow you to approach the conversation with a clearer mind. Finally, it is important to approach the conversation with a positive attitude. This means focusing on finding a solution rather than simply winning the argument. By approaching the conversation with a positive attitude, you may be able to find common ground and reach a resolution that benefits everyone involved. There are many moments when I argue with my girlfriend, and she starts speaking in a more hostile tone. My initial instinct is to defend myself and respond in a similarly harsh manner. However, when I recognize that this is happening, I pause, take a deep breath, and detach myself from the situation. I look at the situation as if I were a third person and can understand why she is behaving that way and how to respond to her correctly. Becoming emotional in that argument, on my part, would ruin everything. During an argument, it is easy to get sidetracked by personal attacks or irrelevant topics. One of the best ways to stay focused on the issue is to avoid personal attacks. This means avoiding comments that are directed at the other person rather than the issue at hand. For example, you might say, "I disagree with your point of view," rather than, "You're wrong." By avoiding personal attacks, you can keep the conversation focused on the issue rather than getting sidetracked by emotions. An important aspect during arguments is using logic and reasoning. It allows you to support your position with evidence and facts, rather than simply relying on emotions or personal opinions. By using logic and reasoning, you can make a more compelling argument and increase the chances of reaching a resolution that benefits everyone involved. One of the best ways to use logic and reasoning is to provide evidence to support your position. This means using facts, statistics, and other data to back up your argument. For example, if you are arguing that a particular policy is ineffective, you might provide data that shows how similar policies have failed in the past. By providing evidence, you can make a more compelling argument and increase the chances of convincing the other person to see things from your perspective. Another way to use logic and reasoning is to anticipate counter-arguments. This means thinking about the other person's perspective and considering how they might respond to your argument. By anticipating counter-arguments, you can prepare responses that address those concerns and strengthen your position. Now, it's time to take action. Apply what you've learned here and start practicing these skills in your everyday conversations. With time and effort, you can become more stoic and effective in your communication and conflict resolution. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips and strategies. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.